My name is Steph, and this is the Dead Man Walking Podcast. You good?
Very good.
There we go. Lando, thank you for coming on the show, man. How you doing?
Very good, man. Thank you for having me, dude. Super excited.
We've
Super
been-
excited.
We've been talking about this for a
Yep.
bit now. But look, man, I'm really happy, one, that you're here, because I think there's so many layers in our initial conversation that we had that resonated for both of us. To be honest, there was from family side, from history of being involved in the music scene, then just life hitting you and you're like, what the fuck am I going to do?
Yeah.
I think there's so many pieces here that I'm really excited to dive in. And then also just to talk about the stuff that you're working on right now, which is really cool seeing it grow. Fucking awesome, dude. So there's a lot of stuff to talk about here today, but I just want to start off by saying welcome to the show. And I'm really happy to have you here, dude.
Thanks, man. I'm excited to be here. Dude, it's funny. It's funny because it's just the way life works, right? I'm on IG, Instagram, doing my thing, comic content related, and you pop up as a suggestion, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you popped up as a suggestion. And I remember I was watching, I was just scrolling, and then I saw, it was Mimo, which ironically is my brother's girlfriend's cousin.
There's always
Right? So it's one of those Italian stories where you have like this person, a friend of a friend, but no, it's actually my brother's girlfriend's cousin. And Mimo and I also go back, right?
Like, true, yeah, I remember you telling me this.
There was a brief stint where I worked.
Yeah. Everyone says I worked
at Ital Melody, right? And yeah, man, so when I was there, they ended up throwing me into the rentals department with Mimo.
Everyone gets thrown into the rentals department.
Exactly. So end up in the rentals, dude. And Mimo, like, I think assigned me the first task of finding hot dogs. So he sent me to Chez Ma Tante.
Chez Ma Tante needs like to owe Mimo thousands or millions of dollars for the amount of hot dogs he's invested in there himself and with friends.
But dude, it's funny because he sends me there on lunch. He's like, all right, just go there and come back.
But literally across the island.
The entire island. This is my lunch. And he sends me there and I'm like, oh man, like, okay, the drive is taking longer than anticipated. I get to the counter. I'm already half hour into my lunch, right? By the time I get there. So then I finally order the hot dogs, head back. It was like an hour and a half later. He's like, dude, what the hell was that? Like, you took forever. I'm like, Mimo.
You know where it is. You forgot where it is.
Yeah, but it's funny because you popped up on my Instagram and, you know, I was just looking at some of the videos, scrolling. And a lot of people that were sitting in this chair, I was like, holy shit, dude. Like, there's Derek. There's Dave Trina, right? There's Lucas from ADD. You remember?
Yeah.
Dude, there's
I was his guitar teacher.
That's
how
amazing. That's hilarious. And so I started watching the episodes and I'm like, man, this is nuts, dude. The editing was really appealing to me too. We spoke about that prior. But yeah, man, looking at all the people you knew, I'm like, hold up. So then I hit you up, right? We start talking. And I'm like, dude, great show. You have an amazing setup. You have everything like really down packed. It looks great. And lo and behold, I start talking to you. And then like the next day, I met up with my ex-guitarist, Steve Francis.
What a small world.
Yeah, dude. We went to Taz's basement with the kids. I'm like, yeah, dude, I met this guy, Steph. And like, you know, he reached out. He said, yo, why don't you come on the podcast type thing? And he's like, Steph who? So I told him. And he's like, dude, he was in the band with my brother Danny Smiles. I'm like, hold up. What are you talking about, dude? So it's crazy how small.
Sooner or later, we're somehow related.
I'm scared. I'm scared. That's where it's at. Because it's funny. When I do most of my YouTube stuff, I got the cap backwards. We got the beard. You know what I mean? So
it's true.
It's the dad look. It's the dad look.
It gets that point where you're like, you know what? I know I'm a dad.
Yeah.
But I've decided I still want to feel young. So I'm going to do certain things that make me still feel like I'm maybe late 20s. I don't want to be early 20s. Yeah. Late 20s, early 30s.
That looks sexy, guys. Come on. It is.
But, dude, on your side, when I saw what you were into and what you were producing, I said, fuck, this is really cool. And then also just the fact of that you had a really good music career, too. It's not like, you know, like you just fucked around in a band. Like, you had a band that did super well and really grew and had a mark on the city at one point. and toured and did stuff. So it was amazing to hear that. And then seeing also in our conversation, the quick one that we had, it's like, okay, like the transition too was tough from going from that world to regular world in a sense.
Yeah.
So, for me, I feel like music played a big part in your life. So I don't know if that's where you want to start
Absolutely.
or if you want to start with the show today, whatever
Well,
it is.
it's funny because music is why we know a lot of the same people we do, right?
Yeah.
Like we were just talking Steve and his brother Danny, which, he ended up on, I think it was Top Chef Canada. Yeah. And he's made a huge successful career for himself within cooking and all of that.
Killing
dude, yeah, he's on fire, dude.
Yeah.
And
I remember when Danny told us he was going to go to cooking school, we all looked at each other.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
We're like, are you crazy? Like, the band, you're going to stop being a drummer to go cook? And he was like, dude, I'm telling you, I really feel like I'm like, this is my thing. Like, I really want to go there. And we all kind of saw too, like, oh yeah, he's not fucking around. Like he really made a decision. Like this is the direction, and he fucking went down. And so seeing him succeed at this level, I'm always happy because I'm like he heard his calling, and he listened. Yeah, and that to me is always a wild thing when you could hear it and then you actually listen and do it. So I was always proud of Danny for that.
Yeah, for sure, dude. And he gave it 110, right? And look where he's at. But it's funny because like we're talking Trina, we're talking Danny, right? Like Danny, dude. Back to Steve mentioned that you guys were together in a band called Sin Silver.
Yeah.
Right. And I remember when we just started playing music together, myself and Steve, he made us hear the
the EP,
album. Yeah, the EP that you guys had. And I remember listening to that. I'm like, holy shit, this sounds amazing, dude. Like the tracks are great, but listening to the way it was like produced and all of that, I was like, this sounds really good. So
Dave did a great job.
Exactly.
Honestly,
so that's where it goes to the next step for us, right? It's okay. Let's reach out to Dave. He told me it was Trina, and we met Trina, and that was, dude. I remember they had the studio on top of
P9.
Yeah, on P9. Yeah. It was, dude. There was that Poutine place, Felix.
Poutine. Oh, dude, Felix.
We
all have memories. That. We all have memories of that restaurant. The amount of Thousand Island dressings that we put on everything at one point. It was so that period was such a special period. I remember of like in that pad and with the band and the studio, Dave and everybody was sick.
Yeah. God bless Dave and Derek for having so much patience with us, guys. Like if you do watch this, thank you for all the patience you had with us. But yeah, dude, Felix, man, it was so good. But you had the shits the day after. Like that's exactly
Felix,
what
you knew you ate at Felix the next day. You're like, even if you forgot everything about the night before, you knew you ate at Felix.
Game over. But it was crazy because like I got to know Trina at that point in time, and now fast forward all these years, like Derek, it was just so funny because you had Danny working at B-Sides. Yes. And then Derek was on the ones and twos.
He was DJing, I remember at the time.
Exactly. So he was doing that. And it's just crazy how all of this came back together. You know what I mean? It came back together via you. So, yeah, I'm excited, dude.
Well, that's one of the things that I noticed even, like, I never realized how, like, my personal network had so many different kind of categories of people. So there was the music side, because it was, like, almost a whole different life.
Yeah.
Of music, that there's all these people and these friends that you have that you're still friends with 20 years later. And you still realize, like, it's still part of your life as a friendships, like with these boys that you had, and you have all these good times. And then all of a sudden shifts come in and you go into a different venture or whatever the thing is, and then you make a new network. But it's like, you don't forget the guys that you grew up with and you had these amazing memories. So when the show started, Dave was he was literally on my first show with my buddy Dan, and JJ was in the band, and Dominic I didn't know, but I got to meet Dom through that.
Dom Cifarelli.
Yeah, there was Dom too, but there was also Dom Carbone that's in the band with the guys nowadays in Astral Gate. So I remember that was the first episode, and I told myself, I have all these friends that do really cool things. Why the fuck would I not, wouldn't it be cool to kind of reconnect with those old friends and the stories and have a good time? How did you do this? How did you do all that?
Yeah.
And then it turns into the circles extending. You don't even realize, you came on the show. Then I met Dom Cifarelli through the show in a sense, because I knew who he was, but I never actually hanged with Don. And so it's like the show has done that now where it's expanding into like the third layer of these circles that are
Yeah,
even
dude.
amazing, and you kind of somewhat know each other, but you don't.
Yeah.
And it's a cool feeling seeing the circle expand with every single week.
Absolutely. And then when you look at the circle, which is kind of why when you were saying like, hey, you were in a successful band, dude, nowhere close. Like you look at these people, like Dom did amazing
Yeah,
things.
Dom
Man,
was
Chronicles of Israel was just absolutely amazing.
yeah.
Ironically, Justin, the drummer, played with us once upon a
Oh
time.
shit.
Now he's doing amazing things on his end. You've got Danny doing amazing things. Everyone's doing great. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's nice to see Trina. Goes without saying, damn truth. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, dude, they're absolutely amazing. But yeah, it's neat to see how throughout time, you know what I mean? All these people we've connected with still managed to bring us back together, and now here we are. We're
Yeah.
here to talk some amazing things, which I'm
Well,
excited about.
dude, the thing that I'm really excited about is first, I think I would love to talk about what you're working on now.
Yeah,
Honestly, I would really love because you have some really cool things that are growing. And then through that, I think we're going to figure out how it got to that. So
yeah.
I'd love to hear a bit more of like what exactly you guys are working on with Black Crown Comics.
So yeah, Black Crown Comics basically was just something I kicked off during the pandemic. You know, you and I were talking about pandemic, boring ass shit to do.
No.
Quebec had some very, very strange rules as opposed to the rest of the world. So yeah, man, with curfews and everything, it was kind of like, what do you want to do with yourself, right?
Yeah.
So I ended up meeting a couple of guys, some locals too. Like I've been collecting comic books since I was a kid. I'll never forget my first time walking into a shop. God bless my Zia Tina, my aunt.
It's always an aunt or an uncle.
Yeah, my cousin Luch, which is her son, Luciano. He actually was the one who introduced me to comics and stuff like that. And then, of course, with the Spider-Man cartoons in the '90s, the X-Men, and all of that, that became a huge thing for me,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, my aunt took me there, who actually also is a part of my influence with music. We'll get to that at some point.
So she's a twofer.
Oh, she's a twofer, dude. She's a twofer, dude. My cousin Luch, I'm the oldest child. Like I have one brother, and I still get, I guess you could say, that middle child syndrome because he's older, of course, but I always looked at him as an older brother, right?
Yeah.
So he was always with me. And when he introduced me to comics, dude, I remember walking into the comic shop with my aunt and my cousin, and the first comic I picked up was Venom: License to Kill. That is not a comic for kids, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But I still picked it up, right?
Yeah.
Venom stood out to me.
Yeah, Venom was a great character.
Of course,
He's
course.
still a great character.
Absolutely. Which, by the way, his first appearance is Amazing Spider-Man 299, not 300. Well, anybody wants to fight, we'll fight. But yeah. So that's where really it kicked off for me, watching the cartoons in the 90s and stuff like that. Now, collecting comics wasn't the main priority for me, the main focus. Like you said, there was a period of time where I was playing music, and music was the main focus. You know exactly what it is. It costs a lot of money if you want to play music.
And it's even your life is just so in it. Like if you really start wanting to do something with it, there's really nothing else that matters.
Yeah.
Like, and there's no family member that matters. Like for me,
No.
at that point, I don't know how you felt, but for me, the focus was like, this is the goal.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking around. I'm going to practice every day. I'm going to jam as much as I can. I'm going to write as much as I can. And unfortunately, like anyone that has ever felt that knows that there's kind of a price to pay. And the price is really kind of all these other freedoms that everyone kind of just does in their teenage years or in their early 20s, whatever it is. And you kind of said, I'm going to party, but I'm going to party with these guys. I'm going to write with these guys. I'm going to hang out with these guys. And this is kind of the clique that you are with literally 24/7 a day, 24/7 every single day,
Yeah.
So it's that's the price you pay. You kind of lose out on a bit of life because you're so fucking into it.
Of course, dude. And, playing music, dude, like, I want to say I fell in love with music relatively young. Like I said, with my aunt, like, dude, I remember being in my aunt's car. Like, don't get me wrong. I love my parents. My parents' taste in music and it's not the same. Like, my dad was more like the Bee Gees. My parents, like, my mom was the Carpenters. But I used
My
to
mom's
listen to
Elvis. It's great.
That's what I'm getting at. Of course, Elvis is amazing. And don't get me wrong. I like everybody I just mentioned as well. But, throughout time, starting to fall in love with GNR, right? Guns N' Roses, Motley Crue, Metallica, Zeppelin, The Doors, you name it. Like,
Yeah.
these were all things that I was learning via my cousins.
Yeah.
So I have my cousin Luch and my cousin Enzo, his brother. And they were really opening my eyes up to music at that point in time. And I was just really falling in love with it, and it was really one of my main loves. Like, dude, as a kid, for me at least, it was comics, it was video games, it was music, and it was wrestling. Those were my entire life. You know what I mean?
I feel you. Almost all of them exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Music. I have a collection of comics too on my end.
We'll talk later.
Dude, I kind of, that's the one thing. I have this box at home with all these comics unopened. I have like,
I wish I had only one box.
yeah, dude, I'm sure. Like, for me, it was CDs. I went on a crazy rampage of collecting CDs.
Yeah.
But comics, I had my phase. Not my phase. I always loved comics. But I remember it was like, I really enjoyed diving into the comic book world. Wrestling, a huge fan. I was a huge fan till the John Cena era. Once that happened, I was like, nah, I think I'm done with wrestling.
It's funny because he's back now.
Yeah.
And he's a heel, right?
I know.
Which the run sucks. I'm sorry. It is
It's
what it
really
is.
not good.
But it's funny because they all kind of come together, because when you think about it, especially like when you look at the 80s, right? Wrestling. Let's talk wrestling in the 80s. Wrestling was basically comic book characters brought to life, right?
Big time.
Everybody says that. Vince McMahon himself has said
Yeah.
that. And like you look at people like the Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan, like these were comic book characters brought to
Sergeant
life.
Slaughter. Everything was a character.
Exactly.
Macho Man was a character. They were comic book characters. Totally.
Exactly. So you have that, and then you fast forward to the Attitude Era.
Sick.
Right?
The best. That's my favorite.
Fucking bangers. Bro, Limp Bizkit my way. You know what I mean? Like
every Monday Night Raw was a must-see TV.
Absolutely.
You did not miss Raw. Like, nothing else in the world mattered but a Monday night right after, especially like a WrestleMania or anything like that.
Yep.
It was wild, dude.
Yeah. Exactly, man. So whether it be pay-per-views, even the In Your House was like must-watch TV, right?
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that comic booky side to wrestling carried into the 90s, where it was not cool anymore, right?
No.
You got WCW, you had all that stuff. And so like I said, fast forward to the Attitude Era, like everything was like balls to the wall, metal. You know what I mean? And the music.
Yeah, it was edgy. It was push the limits on everything.
Dude.
And the amount of cocaine that must have been happening.
Oh, for sure.
In the writer's room.
Oh, yeah.
There's a video online of like when they talk, there's a joke like pretending like a whole scene of what the writing room must have looked like of the Attitude Era. And doing coke. They're just going, why do we do this? Knock this shit out the window. It's wild.
Has to be the case.
It has to be.
You know, with wrestling, like I said, the music was then more, but that was the time that we were in.
It was
like,
edge.
Everything. Tony Hawk video games was like the biggest shit, right? Like you had Jackass on TV, which like we'll talk back on some Jackass stuff in just a bit. But yeah, man, it was just like everything started to shift into that way, and just a lot of the music that I listened to, like, dude, Creed was my sacrifice. You remember the videos they would do, those packages? I still watch them to this day. You know what I mean?
They're intense. Like when you think about even the riffs and everything, like it was that new metal vibe had really shown up with.
Oh yeah,
like
with
it really mashed well.
Oh yeah,
with pop culture.
Yeah,
new metal, wrestling, like everything had finally went into this form, into this morph that it was just one big piece now.
Yeah, and
it was awesome.
It continues to this day. You know what I mean? Like you tune in now, 2025, like Randy Orton's theme song. That's Rev Theory. You know what I mean? You tune into. I mean, there's several wrestlers that. Unfortunately, we can't talk about, but Our Lady Peace.
Yeah, exactly.
And they finally played the song Whatever after so many years since the Chris Benoit thing, right?
Yeah.
But you look back, and it still continues to this day, right? The music edge is now back. Very important part within the wrestling, at least in my opinion. Wrestling I could talk about forever.
Me too.
But to kind of shy away and get back on topic... when it comes to all of this, these were my influences growing up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of it is what I loved, and even like... You know, my wife talks about wrestling in such ways where she's like, wow, this is so exaggerated. Like when you listen to the commentary.
Oh my God.
Right?
She's like, my girlfriend looks, sometimes I'll put on wrestling again and I'll just watch it raw just to see like what's going on.
Yeah.
And she goes, I can't believe you watched this.
Yeah.
This is fucking terrible.
Yeah.
You know, she's like, this is terrible. And I'm like, yes, it's not as good as it used to be. I agree. But fuck, like you have to understand this was really good at one point.
You would have like Jim Ross like be like, by God, this is diabolical. And I would go to school and we would be in the schoolyard play wrestling, and dude, at my house, like my poor parents, God,
wrestling everywhere.
We broke sofas, beds. We would get jam and pretend we were bleeding. You know what I mean? Like we would have wrestling matches.
Go the whole thing, suplexes and like throwing yourself into like the turnbuckle, dude. It was exaggerated all the time. Three
Always.
boys in the house. We always had wrestling going on.
Exactly. And then you had that one guy like myself that had to win all the titles. But anyways. So, you know, all of these were my big influences. And yeah, dude, like then shifting over into comics, not comics, music. Like you said, you know, there's things you have to sacrifice. When it came to comics, especially in my 20s, dude, like I was collecting pretty heavy. And thankfully so, because, you know, I look back now.
Oh, dude, you must have a mental.
The collection's huge. Like my wife looks at me and she's like, Jesus Christ, like please no more boxes. And I'm like, yo, every week I'm coming home with boxes full. But you look at the music side, and music was a huge priority. Although I did collect back when in my 20s, you know, a lot of key books, of course, that I got for $5, now worth, let's say, $800, $900.
It's wild, eh?
Yeah, like we'll talk, like example, the first appearance of Spider-Gwen, right?
Yeah.
Gwen Stacy. So like, I'm happy that I was still collecting briefly at that point in time, but music was the main priority. And I think, you know, through music, dude, I learned a lot, man. Like I said, you know, shout out to Trina and Derek for having patience with us, and a lot of other people who dealt with us, because I don't want to say we thought we were rock stars. You know what I mean? No, we didn't at all. Like, we were the most humble people. But, I mean, in our personal lives, man, I think we were lost, all of us.
Oh, yeah.
At a certain point. And we saw that throughout time. And I think no matter who you are, at some point in life, you hit a wall. Whether it's at the age of 5, whether it's at the age of 50, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. I think that's the part that people have to understand, is that there's a wall waiting for you. And it's not in a negative way. Yeah. Everyone just has to hit a wall. Something happens and there's almost a value shift in a sense that happens in your life. You're like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah, exactly. Now, we were talking Jackass before. Like, you know, when we were playing music, dude, and it kind of carries over into what I'm doing now, right? When it comes to the comic book content over on YouTube, with Covrprice, with myself, my own channel, all that stuff. When we were playing music, dude, you know, although we went to see Trina, we went to see Derek, we never released an EP. Never.
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, and we were playing together on and off with multiple members that came and gone, but I mean the main core stuck together. I would say, you know, 16, 17 is where it started for myself. 25 is where it came to die. That's where we put the nail in the coffin. And during that time, man, like there were a lot of changes that were going on with myself. I openly say it. I was an asshole. You know what I mean? It's not somebody who I wanted to be.
Yeah.
And I you know, we played shows with like Bam Margera, Jackass. We were talking about Bam Margera. Dude, I legit thought people were gonna die at Foofs. Like when Bam, because he started a band. I think it was called Fuckface Unstoppable, and
what a great
name, right? And you had Jesse from CKY on drums, his brother, and we played Foofs, dude. I just remember at one point turning around to Johnny, my drummer, and I'm like, someone's gonna die tonight, dude. Like, I was scared. Yeah. There was people like fucking losing hanging from the rails. Yeah, like that's the energy that Bam Margera brings, right? But we played so many shows with bands that I look at today. Like, we were talking to some of our friends. Like, I'm so happy to see where most of these people are, but I had no idea who some of these people were. Like, we played with Bleakerage, is what they were called prior. We played with Gob. We played with Hawthorne Heights.
Nice.
We played with a lot of people, and we were getting these gigs. Like, we were being contacted locally.
How are you feeling though? Like, because you're playing now with these bands and they're calling you up and you're coming and doing all these gigs. It had to have some sort of like, oh fuck, this is working. Something's clicking though.
So yeah, that's exactly what it was. Is like, we looked at ourselves as like, yo, we're not even dropping any music out there for people to listen to, but yet, you know, we're being asked, and what we were bringing was energy. That's what we brought. We brought a lot of energy. We brought people. People came. You know what I mean? We had some promoters that would hit us up because they knew like we were going to sell the tickets. You know how the grind was. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, you want to play on this bill, dude? You got to sell like 50 tickets.
Yeah,
like, okay,
there's a minimum requirement. You're paying to play pretty much. You
exactly. Know what I mean? And at no points were we looking at ourselves like we need to dip into our own pockets. You know what I mean? Maybe out the gate, like we would sell like 47, and it's like, okay, well, we'll buy 3 tickets and be like, hey, man, you want to come? You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty much it. Exactly. But You know, we were doing pretty well for ourselves on that aspect, playing with bands at this point. There was a band we played with called Jamie's Elsewhere, and I had no idea who they were. And I just remember being outside talking with the singer. And we were shooting the shit, talking about wrestling, ironically.
What are the odds?
Talking about wrestling, talking
You
about
gave him a stunner.
yeah, talking about Chicago, talking about many things. And lo and behold, dude, I remember going to watch Of Mice and Men. At,
Okay.
I think, was it Le National? I don't remember, but I was with my brother, and I think, yeah, and my wife was there too. And I'm looking at the singer, and I'm like, dude, this guy looks familiar. He was the singer of Jamie's Elsewhere. You know
Oh
what
shit!
I mean?
Okay.
So it's cool to see this. You know what I mean? On that aspect, having been close to so many of these people and contact still with some. But one thing we brought was energy, and I think, you know, having the opportunity to play with these people meant a lot. It taught me a lot. Back to wrestling. My cousin that I spoke of, my cousin Luch, he was actually an indie wrestler,
Okay.
and he did very well for himself. I remember, you know, he's fought, you can name it, like AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Psycho Sid. Like he's gone through the ringer.
Dude, it's like, you know, the guy that played hockey that made it to the AHL,
Yeah,
as an example.
exactly.
Like, he's played
Yeah,
with the Crosbys. He's played with the McDavids. He
Exactly.
didn't make it, but you know how hard it is? Like, this is the part that people don't understand in arts or in anything creative, is that there's that realization that at one point, you know,
yeah,
you're not there. Like, it's such a hard thing to accept. Like, for me, it was like, I remember I was like, I played well, but I knew when I would see certain guys play that there is another level that I thought I was at my highest,
yeah.
but they're like,
Way above.
and this is why they're there.
Way above.
And you don't mean it in a negative way. It's actually like, oh, there is another level of commitment that maybe I didn't have it for.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like, I just didn't have it for music. I said, fuck, I thought I was committed.
Yeah.
But
Now,
I don't think
you are. I mean, you are
yeah,
committed.
I am, but not like that. And that was like another level
Yep.
that made me realize that, oh, that's why they're pros. That's why my friend is the guitarist for Lauryn Hill and I'm not.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like, that's why, you know, and there's a reason. It
Yeah.
takes a whole other level of commitment that I just don't think I had at the time.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that, because when we did come to put the band to bed, that's pretty much the discussion we were having with ourselves is, are we ready now to take this to the next level? We had some opportunities, you know what I mean? Like, everything is there, but now in order to elevate, this is what it's going to take.
Yeah.
And when we looked at each other, and kind of like I was saying earlier, we weren't in the greatest spots in our personal lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that doesn't help.
I'm not saying everybody, but what I'm saying is, like, when you looked around the horn, when I looked inside, like, deeply within myself, like, I don't think this is, like, if I continue, like, this is probably going to be shitty.
So, look, for someone to even make the statement of if I look deeply enough means that something was happening for you to even be aware of it.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I don't know if you want to talk about it, but it's the idea of usually there's some sort of shift that ends up happening in you mentally that you're like, you can't unsee this.
Yeah, no, for sure. I
So
think.
what was it? If you want to, I don't know. That's
Yeah,
I'll let
no,
you-
we'll dive. But what I'm getting at is, like, example, I was in a mind state that was just, it was terrible. It was terrible for myself. I was just a piece of shit. I openly say it. You know what I mean? There's nothing about saying that is poor. I think it's just the realization. You know what I mean? And realizing where the boys are at, and realizing, like, what are we doing with ourselves, and, like, what am I doing with myself? Like, dude, I think the biggest battle I've ever had, no matter what challenge was thrown at me, whether it be shows, whether it be personal life, like, whether it be like work, whether it be anything, I think the biggest battle I've ever had with myself was with myself. You know what I mean? Like, for myself was with myself, and digging deep and really taking a step back and be like, okay, dude, like, you need to get your shit together. Like, this is not where you should be.
Yeah.
And this is not what you want. I know what you want. When you look deep down, like, everything seems superficial at first, where it's like, wow, I'm playing with these guys, I'm playing with that guy, and, like, yeah, I want to be a rock star, I want to be this, I want to be that. When you start to look at your core values and everything inside, it's like, nah, dude, I want kids, I want a wife, I want a house, I want a career.
It's wild.
It's what am I doing? You know what I mean? And there was a big shift mentally, where it was kind of like, okay, you need to figure your shit out, dude, because you're on a horrible path.
it's funny you say that. There's so many similarities when I think of that statement of realizing that. But I only realized that really once my girlfriend got pregnant. That was really the only time where it really shifted everything. I had shifts, but I never had a shift like the moment she was pregnant.
Yeah.
That blew my mind because now I'm like, oh fuck, I never wanted kids.
Yeah.
Dude, my whole life was I never wanted kids because I looked at kids as their burden.
Yeah, it's fine.
You know, but that was my whole life. So, and I didn't do it all like, and I was a dick. It was like, why would anyone do this to themselves?
Yeah,
that
dude.
was,
I feel you. I feel you on, if you rewind to a certain point in my life,
Yeah.
I would have said the same thing probably. You know what I mean? But I look at where I'm at today with my life, dude, and like I know people say they would die for their kids, but I live for these kids. You know what I mean? Like I literally wake up morning, go to bed at night, and I'm still like laying on the couch trying to fucking fall asleep. They're in the back of my mind.
It's
you know what I
always,
mean?
that's what I'm saying is the burden that I thought was a burden is actually not.
Nope.
It's the only thing that for me makes it worthwhile to get up.
Yeah.
Like I know it sounds like a depressing thing to say, but it's like, oh, you want to be a better version of yourself. You want to
absolutely.
tap into the things that you actually love doing because you want them to see their dad working, whatever it is, but also not forgetting like themselves.
Exactly.
That's I think the thing that I took away by being a dad was like, oh, okay, you can't. It makes you remember that you can't lose yourself.
Yeah.
Because you could easily lose yourself as a parent, and then it's a burden. Then it feels like a burden.
Exactly, and I think there's a balance where sometimes it's not everything's roses, dude. Like fucking, me and my wife look at each other sometimes and we're like, fuck, like today is like one of those. You want to give him an uppercut, like
Dude, you're like, what the fuck was I thinking?
yeah, exactly.
Why would I
There are
do this
days-
to myself?
There are days like that.
Oh,
dude.
dude, 100%.
Yeah, like I remember I was talking with my buddy Pino a while back, and he's like, dude, you know what I wish I could just do sometimes? Like I want to give them a shot so hard, but I don't want them to feel anything.
I don't want.
I
them
need to
be
let
hurt.
it out.
I need to let them know that this is because of you.
Yeah, exactly.
This is,
That's it.
I love you. But
Exactly.
I
You need
fucking-
to. Yeah, but I literally, like I said, people say they would die for their kids. I live for my kids. You know what I mean? And I would take a bullet for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It goes without saying. I think once you immediately enter parenthood, there's something that just shifts within you.
Biologically, your
Yeah.
brain, honestly, it just goes into directions where you never thought it would go. You never, and it's not like people. I sorry to cut it off, but it was just like it's not like people think it's this. Oh, but you missed the other life. You know, you had another life before them.
Oh yeah, dude.
Dude, I had a great life before my kid.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed this life of being a dad. There's
Yeah.
no like, oh, one is better than the other. That was a one portion of my life, which was
Yeah.
fucking great. I had a party like crazy. I did all these crazy things. And now I love just being a dad and like doing my shit.
Steph, you're spot on because yes, although we did live different lifestyles at one point in time, like there's people who have kids and then like marriages tend to suffer, right, and stuff like that, and that's something that's one of my main priorities is I want to make sure my wife knows I'm present. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of husbands, a lot of dads where they just disappear type thing, or they're out partying still, like even in their 40s and their 50s. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like I get it. There's nothing
I like
wrong.
to still have a great time, but
You
I
can
can't do
have
it
your
every
great time.
week.
Yeah, exactly. Like I will put my kids first. I will put my wife first, no matter what. If there's anything that is going to impact my wife, there's no way I'm doing it. You know what I mean? There's example like now what I'm doing with YouTube. I make it work. 9 p.m. Eastern time. It's because it doesn't
Have any impact on your
impact
family.
on anybody.
Yeah.
Sure, we might spend less quality time, but either way, my wife's burnt. You know what I mean? Like, dude, you
But
go
this
to
is
work,
also quality time for you. Like
Yeah,
that's the
exactly.
thing too is you can't lose what quality time is. You can't only take scraps for yourself.
No, exactly.
That's the thing that like we sometimes tend to do as dads. is
Yeah,
We want to
for
take scraps of like, okay, what's left over? I do this.
Yeah.
It's like no, like I still need that I can be functional
Of course.
when I'm doing this. You know what I mean?
Of course, and like I said, like if my wife is cool, then we're good to go type thing. You know what I mean? But if it's something there that might burden her or whatever, I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel right. So
Well, I go back and forth on that because I want to make sure my girlfriend's happy and I do the best I can for that. And I
Yeah.
really believe that that's an important part of keeping a relationship good. The same way she does a lot of shit for me too. But sometimes it's just for me.
Oh yeah, for sure,
I
dude.
need to do shit just for me. And
Of
if it
course,
bothers you, that's a you problem.
dude.
That's not a me problem. I
I
just need to do my shit right now.
got again. I love my wife to death,
Yeah,
dude,
yeah.
like to death, and she is very. How could I say? Like example, I'm the type where if she wants to go out, I literally look at her. I'm like, just go,
Get the fuck out.
get out of
I
here.
tell her she's annoyed when I tell her. I'm like, just go
Yeah,
out. Get
yeah,
the fuck
man.
out of here.
And I love it. You know why? Because dude, we all need that disconnect. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Whether it be a wife, a husband, or anything, you need that. You need that in your life, man. Especially when you're like literally spending every day, like from morning to night, it's
Yeah.
constant grind. Like I open my eyes, who's putting the dog food, who's
Yeah. It's
getting the kid his
nonstop.
food, pack his bag. He's got to go to school, drop off at this time, daycare at that time. Shit, I'm late for work, and then you finish work. It's 5. Damn, we got to eat supper, and then we got baths. That's what it is,
Yeah.
right? It never ends. It's constant routine. But one thing I have to give kudos to my wife, and I think we do a great job together, is like we make sure at some point we look at each other and be like, we're good, we're good. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like if
You
you
need
need
a
anything,
you need a test at one point, like kind of like a safety word to each other, and you're
yeah,
like,
you okay? Yeah,
"You good?
exactly.
Okay, I'll see you later." You know what I mean? I just want to
Exactly.
make sure you're good. But
Yeah.
it's true, dude. But you need that balance too. You know what I mean? Like, or else it's not cool if it's all on her, or it's not cool if it's all on you.
No,
You have to
exactly.
do like, okay, it's your turn now. Like, I need some time to breathe, man. Or else this shit could get heavy after a certain point.
Absolutely, dude. And I think this all ties back to kind of what we were talking about with the music. It's like, we were at points in our lives, not all of us, you know what I mean? Some people were just, still running the way they were
Oh yeah,
beforehand and
and
everything's
that's
perfectly
cool.
fine. Exactly. But what I'm getting at is like on my end, at least I could speak openly, like, dude, I just was not in a place where I wanted to be. And so, going through the changes that I did and really digging deep and really hitting reset to do it and really finding yourself again is really one of the biggest challenges I think I've ever faced. Like I said, I've gone through many things where were challenging, whether it be shows, whether it be um, literally anything. For me, that was the biggest challenge. And I'm grateful for hitting that wall that we spoke about because it shifted me into the next chapter of my life. You
Yeah.
understand? Which is for me the biggest point of my life where you're a dad, you've got 2 kids, you've got an amazing wife, you have a home. Like there's just everything I wanted, I fought for, I got it, and now it's like, okay, but what's next? And I think we all do that. We all do that, right? So that's where it shifts into the comic thing because I end up hitting pandemic, end up bored as fuck. Like, dude, I had my first kid. I think he was 6 months when the pandemic hit,
Mm.
and we were like, what is going on? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like the whole world was kind of like,
It's already tough, and then now you're secluded and you're locked into a room.
yeah,
So
exactly.
like, imagine how tough it is already just having the kid, and it's a shift in life, and now the whole world just
Yeah,
shifted. So it's like your
it,
job shifted, everything shifted in one time. It's like a wild 180 in every direction.
yeah. I was very blessed for the field of work I was in, where I didn't, have to like shift and maybe worry about being cut or whatever. And then, like I said, Quebec had the weirdest rules.
Yeah.
Like you could go to a restaurant, you have to walk in with a mask. You could eat with no mask. You got to go piss. You got to put your mask. It was like, what the fuck's going on? But
Yeah, what a fucking crazy time.
it was wild. It was wild. But having a kid during that point in time was very scary, dude. It was very scary. And then the second time around, when my wife got pregnant, it was again during the pandemic. We had the kid during the pandemic, so it was a lot of what am I doing with myself? And when I was playing music, dude, when we put it to bed, I remember I had the opportunity to hang out with Adam Gontier from 3 Days Grace, and when I was talking with him. Myself and my buddy Chris went to a show in Arnprior where he was doing an acoustic gig. He was no longer part of 3 Days Grace at this point in time. So it was very intimate. I think there was maybe 150 people in there,
Okay.
max. And so when we went to meet him, I was talking to him saying, dude, thank you, literally for a lot of things that you've done throughout your career because, musically, you were a big influence, a big part of what I was doing. You know what I mean? And when he asked me, like, so what are you doing? Like, he looks at me, he's like, are you still playing? And I'm like, no, this was just when we had just put it to bed. You know what I mean? Like, we had just stopped maybe a year prior. And I'm like, no, dude, like, kind of stopped. You know what I mean? And he looks at me, he's like, why? Like, what's your rush type thing? You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing now? And I'm like, just hanging around, starting, I'm just getting married, having a life started pretty much with, the family life. And that kind of stuck with me because I think people don't understand that, like, playing music, I don't want to say that there's an alter ego, right? That kicks out. There is.
100% alter ego. If you're on stage and it's not an alter ego, you're actually not on stage.
Yeah, but one thing I tried to do most with myself on stage is, dude, who I am is gonna just be amplified by 100,000%, right?
So so going to comic books.
Yeah.
Superman.
Yeah.
His alter ego is Clark Kent.
Yes, absolutely.
So the stage, for a lot of people, if you've been on the stage, that's your Superman. That's the guy you actually are.
Yes.
And then you kind of go into like the real world in this Matrix Neo versus, whoever, whatever the fuck, Mr. Anderson.
Yeah.
And then there's fucking Neo. And you kind of, you are Neo. It's just that in this world, it's a hard way. They don't understand Neo. And so you could bring that character a bit out on a stage. That people don't understand that unless you've done that, the alter ego isn't an alter ego. It's kind of the dark side in you in a bit that comes out.
Exactly. Like, dude, I swear to God, I would go through, like, prepping for a show, for music, of course. Like, I would be sitting there all day, like, trying to not talk too much, not be too salty, do this, not do that, right? You want to take care of your vocal cords. But I would just chill. And I think every show, dude, no matter what, you always got the pregame shits. You always got to hit the toilet right before
I always have to take a
stage
piss
time.
every time. Right before I had to take a piss.
Exactly.
Every time.
Never fails. But you felt amazing, dude. And it's like you hit that stage, dude, and it was like for 45 minutes. If I'm on stage for 45 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, no matter what it is, I'm going to give you 110% of me. Even if I suck tonight, but I promise you this is the best I've got for tonight. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm not going to shortchange you.
Exactly.
That's what it was.
Although, like, people are spending, at this point in time when we were doing shows with, like, Hawthorne Heights, it was like 10, 20 bucks. But, like, still, dude, this is somebody coming to take their time to hang out, have a good time. And one thing that I took away from those shows, every single show, dude, no matter who it was, people we knew or we didn't know, we would get off stage and they'd come up to me and be like, dude, you guys are fucking amazing. Like, dude, what was that song? Dude, you guys have energy. Like, dude, we would have fucking random things flying around, whether it be blow up dolls. We had no idea what was happening. The crowd, and it's funny because, like, some of the things happening in the crowd didn't match our music. You know what I mean? I was like, dude, this is a deep song. Why is there a dildo? But it
works, dude, in that moment. It's like you got people to rip out a dildo in a crowd.
Yeah.
Like that's what people don't understand. When you get people to do fucking crazy shit, there's a satisfaction of being on that stage that unless you've done it, you just don't understand it. It's hard to even explain it.
Exactly. Now that energy carries over into what I'm doing now with comics. It's like, okay, it's not the same thing. I'm not on stage. Yeah. You know what I mean?
But you are, in a sense. It's a different kind of stage. It's a virtual stage.
You're not wrong. It feels like a Microsoft Teams meeting, but yeah, dude, that's what it is. There's a lot of preparation that goes into that. And I think a lot of people who tune in don't realize that. Whether it be what I'm doing shows over on Covrprice, which Covrprice is just a phenomenal company when it comes to being a collector. They really give you some price guides and stuff like that. Non-biased. That's why I'm a big...
I watched the episode. I was like, holy fuck. Like, you guys don't mess around. The way you guys have the conversations. And I'm like, wow, this is deep. Like, I like comics. You guys love comics.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a difference. Like, I like comic books.
We're fucking nerds.
You guys are fucking nerds. But it's amazing. Like, watching you guys do it was... I always like watching someone that is really passionate about it, that they forget the camera's on.
Exactly.
That to me is what I noticed when I watch your show.
Yeah.
You guys are talking and you guys forgot there's a camera on and you guys are talking between the three of you about this fucking thing and why, like, you in the background over here, like you changed this background and you had this guy, the Hulk or whatever it was, like you had all these things. And I'm just seeing how you guys communicate and I'm like, they're not fucking around. Yeah, they really like it. When dude, you talked about not going to San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh, dude, I was heartbroken. Still. Yeah. I'm still heartbroken.
I saw it. I said, there's pain.
Yeah.
Lando's in pain right now. And then the other guy that's like, I've been to it. And you're like, oh, but one thing.
Yeah.
If I could just go. And I'm watching. I'm like, okay, because these guys really give a fuck about that. And to me, that's what I always like watching. I always enjoy watching someone that just cares so much that it doesn't matter anymore what anyone thinks.
Yeah, man. And I'm blessed to be part of that crew because they're wonderful people. But we'll dive into that in just a bit. But back to the energy thing, like I was saying, it's like, now it shifts over. And I feel like that moment of escape. those 45 minutes, 30 minutes that you had on stage, you became something different without realizing. You know what I mean? It was like there's an energy, something takes over you. And I was missing that. I wasn't missing any of the shit surrounding the music scene. I was really missing like entertaining. I want to entertain.
Yeah.
And, you know, people ask me now, even by doing what I'm doing with the comic stuff, and they're like, hey, you know, what is your end game? You know, some people will start labeling shit. They're like, you know, 2 years' time is probably like the lifespan. After that, you need to refigure. Nah, fuck you, dude. This is my space. I'm having fun. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm doing this because I can't picture not doing this anymore.
Exactly.
It's not because if I have an end game, that means I have some sort of, there has to be an exchange here.
Yeah, exactly.
And there isn't an exchange. Like, even if no one's really watching or they don't care about this episode, I still enjoy making the episode and the editing and the putting it together.
Dude, the drummer of System of a Down has a shop, Torpedo Comics. You know what I mean? Like, even though he's the drummer of System of a Down, fucking still loves his comics. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing wrong with that. So for me, although the end game could be endless possibilities, it could be, hey, you know, I would love to stay within entertainment. If I could be invited to San Diego Comic-Con to do an interview with somebody, sure, I'll do it. Absolutely, dude. If you want to take me to New York Comic-Con and just walk the floor and talk to people, let's do it. You know what I mean? I want to continue to entertain. Now, of course, I'm talking comics. Possibilities are endless. We could talk music. We can talk wrestling, kind of like we did today. Like, we're talking all around. You know what I mean? It's not just comics. It's music. There's a side to me that people have never seen before. They're like those watching the comic shows.
Yeah.
They don't know I played music before.
Well, that's the thing, Len. It's like, dude, everyone has this idea, and I think as I'm getting older, I'm realizing this too, is that there is no one version of you.
No.
There's multiple hats. So I'm a dad.
Yeah.
The same way I have a podcast. Yeah. The same way I like making content. The same way I like being a marketer. The same way I like being in a corporate world at times. I enjoy that at times. I don't love it for everything, but there's some things that I love about working in that field that has taught me so much in my life. And from when music, I had another life of music. I had another life of a million things going on from real estate. And so it's like, you don't forget those things that were a part of you. It's just sometimes some lights are a little dimmer and some of them are a little brighter at times.
Yeah.
But you have multiple roles. And I find what makes someone interesting is because they have multiple roles. That means I'm able to be a comic book guy for this hour. Exactly. And I'm fucking killing it. And I love prepping for the show and I love doing all this shit.
Prepping sucks.
You know, I kind of like the prep, but you guys do a lot more prep work than I do.
On Sundays,
you guys, it's wild.
On my Sunday show, dude, there's an average of 50 slides per prep.
Dude, your prep work, I'm like this. Jesus Christ, this takes time. You know, I'm lucky I don't have that much prep work. I'm scrolling, I'm getting ideas. Let's have a conversation. But dude, like when you start kind of looking into that sphere of it, for that hour, the end game, it's worth it. And when you're hanging out with your kids, dude, and you're having a great time, it's like, it's worth it. You know, it's like, that's the role you're playing right now. And I think you need that. I think for sanity, to keep your sanity, you need to have multiple hats.
Absolutely.
You can't be the same person 24 hours a day. You'll fucking go crazy.
No, exactly. And like I said, you know, for me, that's my escape. That rush that I missed when being on stage. Like, dude, that I think, you know, to this day, like I'll be driving to work, man. And it's every fucking day. Like I'm listening to bangers, music on the radio, whether it be a Spotify, whatever. And I'm just missing it. You know what I mean? I want to jam again. You know what I mean? But that little bit of like that rush that I got on stage, I very subtly get the same rush by doing the shows. You know what I mean? And I think, you know, I had some people reach out to me when I started my own channel for Black Crown Comics. People were like, dude, but you're doing a lot of the same shit that other people are doing. I'm like, really? Like, what are you talking about? So they're like, well, you're doing, you know, FOC, final order cutoff, like what to order before the deadline of ordering these new books, right? You're talking about sales on the aftermarket for comics and stuff like that. Almost everybody's doing that. And then it comes to, you know, the news that's happening within the week, MCU, whatever. Like everybody's doing that. And I was like, yeah, you're not wrong, but I'm going to do it fucking better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, just because someone is doing it doesn't mean there's not a space for you.
No,
I think
absolutely.
that's the problem that people have. It's like, oh, everything's been done. Whatever you think you haven't done has been done.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like, but how are you going to bring your voice into that world?
Exactly.
And how do you stand out? That's the hard part. It's not about finding a new thing. If you find it, it's like a gold mine for sure. Then
Yeah.
it's amazing. But I mean, that's a 1 in a billion. Like, and usually that happens because you were digging into something, and then it ends up finding a whole new life on its own, anyways.
Absolutely. Steph, look, what you're doing right now, right? We're sitting down, having a podcast, talk, whatever, just shooting the shit. Everybody does this. Everybody
Oh,
does
yeah.
it. But you're doing it in your way. What
Yeah.
makes you happy, and you feel this is going to be the way that's going to put you above many others.
Yeah.
That is perfectly fine, dude. So, in my opinion, when people think that way, you're already defeated. You've defeated yourself, dude. So, let me do me. You worry about you. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And I think people forget that when it comes to especially YouTube content, right? Like, because what you're doing is YouTube content.
Yeah.
What I'm doing, and I think as well in a way where this is gonna, I pretend it's on Spotify, right? When I'm doing my shows, I'm pretending it's on podcast form, not visual. Although yes, the YouTube stuff is visual, but I pretend like I gotta make sure that the person tuning in, if it is on Spotify, they know what we're talking about. The details are there. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So
Especially it's true because you have all the slides.
exactly.
So it's true. I didn't even look at it from that perspective. Like my show, you can just listen to it.
Exactly.
And I'll put from an editing perspective. That's why it's worth watching it. But there's a lot of visual to it. So if they're listening, it's tough if you don't go into the details.
Exactly.
I didn't even think of that.
Exactly. So, shifting now to Spotify, this is something I want to do because I'm closing in on episode 100 now.
I saw.
Yeah, for my Sunday show. And, that was pretty much started simply because, I was previously with a group of guys called the Comic Kingpins. They're the ones who brought me into this space. It was a friend who reached out for a one-night gig. And he's like, hey, you want to just hop on the show and talk comics? I'm like, cool. I was bored. Pandemic, right? Hopped on. Hey, do you want to be, permanent seat here? Cool. Start doing that. Life changed, dude. Pandemic. We went back to the normal world. I had 2 kids. I was asking, dude, my mother-in-law was coming every single Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time.
You had a show.
To watch the kids with my wife so I can do the show. You know how fucking pathetic that sounds? Right?
Why?
I no, but like I feel like, dude, I was a burden. You understand? It felt that way. It felt that way.
I know you feel that way.
Yeah.
But that's the problem with us as dads.
Exactly.
You can't feel that way because you do a lot of shit for the family.
Yes.
And this is my time. I need fucking 2 hours to fucking steam off, dude. I gotta do this shit. I just need to, because if I don't, I'm gonna be a terrible dad.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what I did was like, we went back to normal, and then it was, things are settling down. My mother-in-law has been doing it for some time now for me to do this with the crew with Comic Kingpins. And I was like, I kind of just want to venture out now. I just want to build my own brand and just, continue to do it.
What happened? Like, what was going on at that point where you started realizing, oh, fuck, like, there's certain things that happen that I can think of on my end, but this is about you. I want to know, like, what happened that you started actually thinking differently? Because that's, I think, the part that people skip over and we take lightly, is that you're doing this show, Comic Kingpins.
Yeah.
And something sparked.
Yeah.
What do you remember when you left maybe a show that made you say, maybe it's time I start my own thing?
So the main thing, to be honest with you, was really the fact that like the 7 p.m. slot was killing me. It was really fucking.
It's always
killing
that.
Me,
It's like
it was the number
something has
one.
to physically hurt.
Yeah. Like there was a physical aspect where I'm like, dude, I can't do this 7 o'clock shit anymore on a Monday. You know what I mean? Like waking up, going to work, you got to run home and kids and all this. And so I was like, that's really what's bothering me right now. It was really that. To be very transparent with you, they're a great bunch of guys. I still appreciate them, love them to death, and they always know they can reach out to me at any time. But for my side, it was a lot of work. I was doing a lot of the slides, the lifting, and everything, and it was starting to take a toll. It was starting to take a toll. Assembling the cast, you know what I mean? Assembling the dudes every week, and it's like, are we on? Are we off? What's going on? This and that.
The band problem.
It's
the same problems with the band.
Exactly, and that's where it took me back. And I remember talking to one of my good friends, Hyper. We call him Hyper Combo Comics on the YouTube scene, which is.
I was like, his name's Hyper.
No,
that's a fucking wild name.
No, his real name's Heinz. But so we were talking, and I'm like, dude, it kind of makes me feel that way though. Like there was a point in time within the band where it was like, shit, like, you know, are we jamming? Or are we not jamming? Are you gonna be here for 7? The guy shows up at 8:30. It's like it was really fucking annoying.
Yeah.
And so it kind of carried over even on that side of things. So I was like, you know what? I just want to like realign my life. Again, on this aspect, not my entire life, but like on just
Yeah.
on this aspect where, you know, what's beneficial for me? Can I do something after 9 p.m.? The kids are going to bed at 8. So like, you know, 8:30 now. Does it work? Yeah, it works. My mother-in-law doesn't have to get involved. I don't have to rely on somebody
Yeah.
else. Like
It's
I
a
just
whole different setup.
exactly. So I think when factoring all of that, it came down to that's the main thing. It's really like I don't want to have to burden anybody. I don't want to have to like rely on anybody. I just want to do me. And I think once I made that shift, it's kind of where I started to find myself again with the same rush, the same thing I was missing when it came to music. Now I'm feeling this again. You know what I mean? It's like I got creative again. I you know, with music, writing, and everything. You know, when the juices start flowing.
It's the best feeling.
Exactly. It was I got an opportunity to be creative again, and like how can I make my brand cool? How can I make my show cool? How can I do this and that? So it really was that. That's really once I started, there was no stopping it, and now we're getting close to episode 100. And you know, I know YouTube. A lot of people look at the sub count, the subscribers. I've made it very clear many times that I'm in no way, shape, or form interested in cheating my way to the subscriber count. I
I
don't
know.
give a shit.
I want to get there for real.
Exactly. I want a genuine build. Genuine. People
Same.
who want to be here are going to be here.
Yeah.
And to, you know, right now, let's say I'm sitting at 800 plus subs, right? My views are getting 400 to 500. You know what I mean? I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
Like, even if I get 300, I don't care. You know what I mean? We're getting close to the halfway point where people, let's say 800 subs, 400 and something views, half of the people here give a shit.
They want to be here.
Exactly. And that's what I want.
Yeah.
So on my side, sure, I could create a reel that is absolutely stupid. Now you had that guy who got caught at the fucking Coldplay concert. Fucking idiot. Anyways,
what a wild
stupid.
thing.
But anyways, you can make a reel. You can make a meme about that.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can make some funny shit, and people will sub up. And then after, when they watch the content, that's not what they're here for. They were here for you to make fun of somebody, right?
Yeah.
That's not what I want.
Yeah.
I want some platform where I'm here to talk about my hobby. This is what I love. This is my space. You understand? So whether you want to be here or not, I'm happy to have you here. You understand? Like, this means the world to me. But if this isn't for you, it's cool. You know what I mean? There's nothing that's gonna upset me about that.
There's a difference when you have an end goal,
Yeah.
right? So, you know, like these guys are like, 2 years. Well, for them, in those 2 years, it's important that they hit 1,000 subs as fast as possible, get as many views as possible, because if they don't, they're out.
Yeah.
When you don't have that vibe, it's different. It's going to take longer because you have some sort of, I guess, morals.
Absolutely.
You know, it's like, and once, like, I'm not willing to fucking sell myself and do things that I don't creatively think are good for me.
No, exactly.
So I know I could have done a ton of stuff on the reels with the fucking the astronomer's CEO. You know what I mean? I know I could have leveraged that.
And your real game is top notch. So
Thank you.
you're losing now, bro. You're
I
losing
could
now.
have fucking, and I'm a fucking clown. I could have made some good jokes here, but I felt, to be honest, I looked at it I was like, it must be a really fucking tough time for these people. I felt bad. Like, I felt bad for everyone in that conversation because you know it's going to be a shit show in their lives.
Idiotic.
Imagine getting shitted on by billions of people. It sucks when one person does it. You know, and it's so personal, the whole story. So I found it was like, I was like, okay, I'm going to laugh. I'm going to enjoy some of these memes because they're fucking funny.
Yeah, dude, I like the ones that are being remade.
Yeah, like they're
example,
great. They're taking the time to make some funny comedy out of it.
But that's not what people are watching Dead Man
like
Walking podcast.
Exactly. It's not the vibe I'm going for. So had I been that type of meme content, then it would work. But I feel you, dude. Like when you find something, it's like I want to be proud of the show. Like, that's when I look at, you know, like I was telling you before about the little things now that I'm starting to notice.
Dude, I was hard on myself when I played music. Even to this day, I'll do a show. I'm like, fuck.
That's how you know you care. Yeah. Like, I find like that's how you know you care is the details. Everyone says, oh, don't sweat the details. No, the details is what makes something better than anything else.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you're like, those slides that you put up, dude, for the show and the prep work, that's why people are watching and they're commenting and they're fucking leaving messages and they're connecting with you and they're half the sub count. that's just a matter of time then before it builds to what it should build to.
Absolutely.
It's not a question of if, it's time. So and then, you don't want to be blind to data. Like that's the part that I had to learn how to be better with, or I'm learning how to be better with, is that the data is telling me something though.
Absolutely.
So I need to acknowledge my creative side, but also recognize that there's data. So like, how do I bring the two worlds together to bring out my best version of what I see the show that relates with the best audience that fits for me? And it's such a different vibe versus I just want to get an audience.
Exactly. And I think that's what some people, I see it firsthand. I see people with sub counts at like 4,000, 5,000 subscribers getting 100 views.
Exactly.
3,000 subs, 100 views.
10,000 followers, 1 like.
Exactly. So it's clear that the engagement isn't there. There was some kind of way that you ended up where you're at. And that's cool. You know what I mean?
There's nothing wrong with it.
I don't disrespect anybody's hustle. But when it comes to myself, and it's funny because it's something that you and I spoke about, and I see it firsthand, Steph. I see what you're doing with your show. You know what I mean? You are literally building a community. This is what I want to do. I really want to bring the hardcore side of, the hardcore collectors together.
Yeah.
I really want to bring those that give a shit about comics to talk about comics. There's such a pollution within the YouTube scene, the Instagram scene, because there is a fucking weird world of this. But
yeah, dude, they're fucking mental.
Yeah, dude. Like, there's people who will get mad at you for maybe missaying something, or like, dude, there's a lot of information being dropped, right? We go through a lot. But there's also that side to the YouTube scene where it's like you got the gatekeepers within the hobby, right? No, dude, if you're buying this type of comic, like that's stupid of you. Like, fuck you, dude. If that's what the person likes, let him buy it.
Exactly.
As long as he's buying a fucking comic. Yeah. Shut up. You know what I mean?
But everyone has an opinion. So it's like, in one world, this might be the dumbest thing. And for another world, this fucking works.
Yep.
And that's what makes YouTube fun, is that there's going to be a world for the people that think like you. And you work with those people, and you're bringing them some sort of value into watching your content. I'm not a comic book collector like you guys, not even close. I have my one box
and a fantastic
pretty cool
thing right here. You guys don't see it, but fuck.
I'll take a picture.
Yeah.
But it's this idea of like, I watched and I was like, these guys, like, if I was a collector, the same way they are. You guys are talking about like the advantages, like you're just looking at it from such a whole different point of view that I'm like, I didn't even realize there's like, I know there's a world of this shit, but I didn't realize to this level. And I was like,
sure.
Wow.
It goes further, dude, whether it be, Pokemon cards, whether it be vinyls, whether it be anything, dude, everything,
It's a collector's concept.
Exactly.
It's not just comic books. The way you guys talk, you're collectors.
Exactly. But we collect, but I also read. You know what I mean? Yeah. So there's an enjoyment. This is my escape, dude.
Well, I think it was your first post, because I love going to the first post of a show or anyone that comes on. And it was a Spider-Man. And you're talking about Spider-Man. And like that I was reading your fucking caption. I'm like, this guy is a real fan of this comic. But because, absolutely. It's like, you could just tell when someone writes about something that this is a mark in their life.
Yeah. But that's exactly it. Is like, I'm coming in with a passion. You understand? So all the negativity, all the bullshit that surrounds it, I really don't give a fuck. Like, dude, you go on the YouTube scene, there's people talking about, drama when it comes to the hobby. I really don't give a shit. You've got YouTubers fighting amongst each other. Wow. I don't give a shit. This is the most high school shit. And I get it. It's clickbaits. It's going to get you all the views. All enjoy that. When I go to bed at night, dude, not giving a fuck. And if I'm not going to make that content, doesn't faze me because it's not what I'm here for. You know what I mean?
I know.
And it's cool. If you want to do that, you do you, bro. I will not judge anybody on how they're doing their grind. You know what I mean? Like, dude, you do you. My side of town, my side of this shit, what I'm trying to build is a community. Really. I just want people that are here to talk comics, enjoy the show. I don't care if it gets even 100 views. I know that those 100 people watching are here for the comics, and that means the world to me. And it's funny because a lot of the viewers are now friends. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you get to know them.
I've been doing this since the pandemic now. You know what I mean? Like, I had the Comic Kingpins. I had my buddy Newbie on his channel, make appearances on other people's channels. You get to know people. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of good people in this place. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like within music too, right? You've connected with bands. Like, we were just talking Trina. It comes full circle. You Derek, all these people, great people. You know what I mean?
I've met artists through this show I would have never met.
There you go.
I have people coming on that they like the show, they want to come on, and you're like, oh fuck, and then you get to listen to their music, and you're like, wow,
Yeah.
I'm happy that I created this show. I got to meet this band,
Yeah.
and this band makes great music, and now they want to come on the show, and we're gonna be able to talk about something that is fucking cool. Like they're making something that's cool, coming onto a show that I created out of nowhere,
Yeah.
and hopefully this helps them get further in whatever it is their thing, and hopefully I could be part of that roadmap for you. That somehow you can link back to this show.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck, I'm happy I did that show. Like he didn't fuck me over. He didn't take anything from me. He really just creates a show to highlight.
Absolutely.
And so to me, that's what it's like. If I don't do that, I feel like I'm losing something in myself if I don't do that.
Exactly. And that's one of the main things that I do on my show on Sundays. Yes, with Covrprice, talking about, the comic data, the sales within the week. I host the Shakers on Thursday. Those are the books that shook up the aftermarket. Massive sales that take place or whatever that, are very impressive. Great. That's fun. The top 10 of the week. Every week there's, the top 10 books that are selling. Great. Love talking about that. My Sunday show, I talk about all these things. I'll talk about the final order cutoff, the FOC, like I was telling you about. I'll talk about the market sales. I'll talk about the news. But there's always a rotating guest. Every week there's a new guest because I want to continue to highlight the guest. It has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
The show is not about me. It's about the person who's on.
Yeah.
And the hobby. That's really all I'm showcasing. Anything else, dude, I'm just the talking head over there. You understand? Like, yeah, okay, I'm putting this together, but my goal is really to do that and to continue to build the community. You know what I mean? I just want to show that there is a good side to this. There is, wonderful collectors out there. There's always going to be shit. There's shit everywhere we go. But like I said,
It's easy to be a dickhead.
absolutely. The drama side to things and all these weird ass things where you got like fucking 40-year-olds fighting on YouTube, 50-year-olds, and it feels like high school. I don't give a shit, dude.
Yeah.
Like, it's not for me.
Well, there was something you said. I think it was pretty recent. It was in the new Superman movie.
Yeah.
I saw a post that you had done. That being good is punk or something like that.
Being good is the new punk rock. Dude.
It's like, dude, doing the right thing right now, that's different.
Yeah, dude.
Being a cocksucker and being a dick right now is so boring, because it's everyone expects you to be an asshole for some reason nowadays.
Yeah, you remember 21 Jump Street? So you have Channing Tatum in the first movie, and then you've got Jonah Hill in the second movie, where the cool guy side to things shifts, right?
Okay.
So the comic
I
nerd.
didn't watch the second one.
Oh, really?
No, I didn't
Oh,
watch
what
the
are you
second-
doing? But anyway,
I'm sorry. I didn't watch the second one. I thought you were talking about the first one. Okay, go. I'll let you tell me.
But anyways, the football guy, the jock is the cool guy, and then in the other film, it's like the comic nerd, the video gamer is like the cool guy, and that's the world we live in right now. You know what I mean? Like, dude, people bash comics and everything. Excuse me. People bash comics, or like example, like I'll have people look at me and be like, "Oh, okay, you read comics? Like, what are you still a kid?" Like, I'm like, "Okay, you're still."
Where
reading?
have you been? Like,
Yeah.
where have you been?
Yeah, but that's what I'm getting at is like you look at the box office, dude. It's one of the major things that is drawing people to the box office in the last decade plus is video game. Yes, sure, we'll put it up there. But comic book, yeah,
dude, you have not had a year in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
That the comic book movie has not been the highest grossing movie of that month. It's always a comic book movie. Then TV shows. Remember, I worked in TV too.
Yeah.
For 8 years. At one point, CTV, all their shows were fucking Gotham's, The Flash. It was all fucking Green Lanterns. It was every single comic book TV show, movies, merch, the cons all around the world growing at an exponential rate. The fucking characters online and Instagram, the groups, it's wild, dude.
But that's what I'm getting at is like, for me, I love this stuff. I don't care for all the other shit. It is one of the main drives to the box office. Even to this day, look at all the hype. Superman, Fantastic Four, and you brought up Superman. Dude, there is a conversation that is had between Lois and Superman within the film. And it's not a spoiler, but being good is the new punk rock. And although, some people might think it's like, oh, okay, that's corny, whatever. You know what I mean? But it is true, dude. We live in a society right now where like fucking being good is considered bad. And like or uncool. I'll be out and my kids, I'm trying to teach them right. You know what I mean? I'll be at Walmart and I'm walking with the kids with a carriage, like example, like they're walking side by side with me. They're 5 and 3. You know what I mean? So you can't put them in the carriage anymore. They're too cool now. They're too cool. But as we're walking, let's say there's a elder lady passing. I'm like, no, let the lady pass.
Yeah, just
You know what I
something.
mean?
It's so simple.
Hold the door. Hold the door. Nobody even fucking has courtesy anymore to do such a thing. You understand? It's like I look at the world we live in now and I'm like, what's going on? You know what I mean? It's
It,
rare you see this.
it's you know, I said this to someone. I'm like, I think what's happened is that we've rewarded being a dickhead
Absolutely.
in a sense. So it's like you'll watch something on Instagram and it's the video of someone being an asshole to someone that will get the most clicks.
Yeah.
Right? So the algorithm just keeps on providing you more of that, and you keep on liking it, and those people keep on getting paid. So it's like this vicious circle of doing terrible things to get money. So at a certain point, it just becomes natural because everyone's saying, "Well, it's tough times. I'm having a hard time paying my fucking rent." And if I can make money being a dick faster so I can pay my rent,
Yeah.
it's like a weird circle that happens where you just start thinking it's normal. And then it comes a point where you're like, hold the fuck up.
Yeah.
I'm in this weird parallel universe of why is being an asshole actually being rewarded? And I was thinking of what you were saying, and it brought me back to the point where I don't know if you watched Wall Street with Michael Douglas.
Of course.
Right?
Of course. Yeah.
And that era was like, greed is good.
Yeah.
And it was different to hear something like that because it was always, everything was always smiley and all that shit in the 70s and 80s, and it always works out in the end. But like the Wall Street movie to me that was a change in like concept. Greed is good.
Yeah.
Fucking great movie, loved it. But then it becomes this weird thing that becomes greed is normal.
Yeah.
And just do this all the time. And then it becomes just another level of like, this is exhausting.
Dude.
It's exhausting mentally. And that was the one thing with the show too, was I always asked myself, am I actually providing real value for someone in a good way? And I know it's going to take longer. I know that if I talk about politics right now, this show will skyrocket. If I get on and I only want to talk politics and I only want to talk religion and conspiracy theories, it will work.
For sure.
It'll work.
Or
and I
it
can
might do
carry
the opposite.
It might do the opposite, but I'll get a whole new set of audience.
Yeah. Eyes. Yeah.
And it'll be a whole new world that loves this stuff and loves to consume it. And I could just build it up in a way that it can be very useful in that way. But I'm trying not to. I don't want to fall in that world because there's more than enough of that shit that I don't want to be a part of.
No, look, I will say that there are products out there that things feel like there's an agenda. You know what I mean? You could watch a Disney show or a movie, whatever, and it's like, okay, there's
always an agenda.
There's a clear-cut message here that is just like kind of strange or whatever. And I think it's up to us as adults, parents, to really be the judge.
Yeah.
But when it comes to moral compasses, bro, it seems like they're completely spiraling. You know what I mean? They don't exist anymore. I look at people out in society and I really puzzle. Like I'm really puzzled. Like I'll look at them and it sucks because now as parents we tend to worry a little more. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like
I never cared.
We grew up in fucked up times.
Yeah, I'm not saying the 90s were this like amazing rosy
crazy.
period. It was amazing. It was fucking crazy. And I'm happy I did crazy things, but I'm happy I had good parents.
But it was a different kind of stupid. You know what I mean? Like we would fucking egg people. We would like fucking do stupid shit as kids. We were jumping off balconies into snow. Like we were getting in trouble in different ways. Yeah. Whereas now you've got kids that like, there's times where you're seeing, like, especially social media, dude. It's such a whack place, dude. Like, the new hip thing is like, here's the game and you got to hurt yourself and this is how you win. Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, time out, dude.
Yeah.
You go out into the real world. And that was something that I was saying as well within the short reel that you're mentioning is even in society, in the real world, people have a hard time conversing. They don't have the capacity of even having a conversation. I have a buddy who is single. He's in his late 30s, and like you go to the bar, dude. Like back in the day, clubs. Like, hey, you know what I mean? Like it was Party Central, fucking Foam Dome. You remember that shit? But like people don't even talk, but they link via some application or whatever, and it's just kind of weird how like when people have to have conversation in person, people immediately kind of feel like, what the hell? You know what I mean? Like, what's going on? And he experiences it. He's told me straight up. I try to bug him sometimes. I'm like, dude, it's because your face or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I'll bug him.
You can change that face.
Yeah. You got to do something about that. But like it is truth though. Like I do see it amongst people where, just having a conversation is almost difficult in today's time with a stranger. Like you can't be on a bus and have a conversation with a stranger because immediately it's like, oh fuck, stranger danger or whatever.
Yeah,
Like, dude, I
it's
remember being I lived in Laval. I went to JFK. You know what I mean?
so you just love doing commutes. Is that what you're
Absolutely,
saying?
apparently. But we moved to Laval when I started secondary one. So when I started high school, and I refused to go to Laval school. Like I gave my parents a very hard time, and I wanted to stay with the crew. Went to Saint Michel, and doing that commute, you talk to people. You know what I mean? People were talking to each other.
Yeah.
We would see the same fucking faces at the same time on that bus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So people talk. Nowadays, it's like, man, no one, like, everybody's on their phones. Everybody's just like,
Sometimes I do that when I'm on the metro, because I love taking the metro. It's a block away. So I'll grab my daughter, we'll go on the metro, and I like looking sometimes. I'm like, holy fuck, everyone is on their phone.
it's crazy.
It's wild. Like when you really stop for a second and just watch, and you're not looking at your phone, and you just look up and you're like, oh my God, there's no one here that is either in a book or not on their phone.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a mind fuck because you realize how it shifted. And this is why it's like, I think with the content that you make or the content we make or we're trying to make is that it's not meant to be an isolation thing.
No.
It's meant to be a community thing.
Yeah.
And because I'm sure there's other people that are interested in knowing about this type of story. I'm sure there's other people that are interested in collecting this way and this is how they want to do this. So to me, that's what I liked about the show is that you're bringing your touch to it from a music perspective. You're bringing your touch from it, from your character. Like when you have a character, right? You're bringing your personality, but you're really still bringing the value of the comic. Like you haven't lost that part, which is what makes it the community to build on. Because if you lose that part, there's no reason to watch.
No, exactly. Again, I'm very in touch with comics. I read as much as I can weekly. Don't forget, we got 2 kids. We got full-time jobs.
Yeah.
My job is very fucking demanding. And I think people don't understand, like, the levels I go to, which is beyond, above and beyond, to get this together. Even if it's for 2 hours of just shooting the shit on a Sunday, it takes a lot. It takes a lot.
Yeah.
And again, most people would ask, well, why the fuck are you even doing this? You're not even making money, dude.
I was just about to say
right?
that.
Like, it's just, you're not even at 1,000 subscribers. I do this because I love this, dude. This is my passion. This is my escape. You come here every time with your guests of the week or whatever it is, and you're sitting down, you're escaping. Right now, this is what we're doing. We're shooting the shit. What we just spoke about people not having conversations in person, that's what we're doing. And this is your escape. You have kids. We've said this earlier in the show. For me, this is highly important. I get to talk about my hobby. This is my platform. This is my space. If you have no interest in the actual fucking hobby, that's cool.
It's cool. But
there's nothing wrong.
when did you finally be okay? When were you finally okay with that, though?
Being a nerd?
No, yeah, exactly. Like accepting, that whether someone likes it or not, I'm still doing it. And I find there's a weird transition to coming to terms with that because I don't know how you are. I know how I am. And when I work on something, I want to be good at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't do something and half. Like, I'm like, well, then why am I here? I'll just go do something and be 100% versus being half in something that means I don't care about it. So why not just take that time, put it on the thing I do care about, and I'll actually be 100% on that.
Yeah.
So when I look at that, the podcast, I had realized at a certain point, I want to get better at telling stories is what I realized.
Yep.
I want to get better at editing. And the podcast allows me to still create these communications, get the ability to tell the story through this camera. But now how do I take that story and bring it to another level? Because, that's the fun part now is how do you make a story out of this? How do you take those pieces and put them together? And that's what I realized what I'm really passionate about is putting the conversation into such a great way where people take the time to actually want to listen to the story.
Yeah. Dude, look, from one host to another, I think you're a phenomenal host. I think that's one thing that people need to acknowledge is how somebody is carrying this conversation, how somebody is, bringing forth all of this for you, the viewer. And I think you do a tremendous job. I told you, even your fucking reels, dude, like I'm jealous. Like I need to learn these skills because I need to get better too, right? But yeah, man, it's.
What was that point where you just knew like, fuck, I just want to get better at this?
You know what, man? I think it was just like I said, it kind of ties back to everything. I miss that rush for sure, and it kind of gets fulfilled via the shows. But at what point did I want to get better? I think it comes down to the same thing you just said. Is I don't like walking into something giving 50%, 80%, 100%. I realize that okay, we're on to something. You know what I mean? Like okay, there's some people that are tuning in. Okay, now there's a slow build. Oh, you know, I have companies reaching out to me asking, do you want to be part of it? And you know, although I'm affiliated with Covrprice, dude, I'm by no means contracted. You know what I mean? I'm not. I want to remain free agent for the whole rest of my life because I'm not in this to do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And like I said, the entertainment part, I think it really is one of the main things. Is I want to continue to entertain, continue to build a community. That is something that you are doing as well, and you're doing tremendously. Even that little addition of your, you know, the letters and those posts where you go in depth, do those write ups. I check those out. You know what I mean? I really enjoy that, right?
Thank you. I
And
appreciate that.
so yeah,
Does
no,
anyone read this shit?
no, I am, dude. I am, man. There's some good stuff there, dude. And for me, it's really like, why do I want to get better? Because I really want to do more for this hobby. You know what I mean? There's a lot of negativity. There's a lot of, you know, you go on social media, don't buy this comic, don't buy from that guy, or people fighting, or like, yeah, this is considered wrong, dude. Like I said, this is something I love to death, so I will continue to stand by it, right? So how do I do that? How do I reach a bigger audience? I need to get better, right? I need to get better. We need to bring the entertainment. We need to find ways to be more engaging. And now that I'm getting to episode 100, which I don't know if this is coming out before or after the episode.
We'll try to figure it out. When's this episode
Whatever.
coming out?
Whenever it comes out, it comes out.
When's your episode 100 coming out?
Not this Sunday, not tomorrow.
Guaranteed not coming out.
Yeah, exactly. So we're good.
This
We're
is
good.
post. We'll talk about
Totally fine. But yeah, it's kind of like, okay, let's I'm not looking to reinvent the wheel. There's a formula that's working. You know what I mean? There's things that are working, but what more can I add to this channel? What could I add to content wise? And I'm always sitting down and thinking. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you said, you know what I mean? Are you fully satisfied? Never. There's never been a day I've been fully satisfied. I'll say that openly. Even when it came to music, God bless Trina. God bless Derek. I'd be in studio. I'd do a track, and I'll never forget, dude. Like my full name, I mean, majority know is Gerlando, and he'd look at me and be like, Jerry. He's like, that was fucking it, and I'm there. I'm like, no,
it's never it. What I realized, it's never it.
Yeah.
This is like a perfectionist complex in a sense, where you just get into something and you can always find the flaw, but at a certain point you need to press publish. That was really what I noticed in the last note that I'd written, was that's the challenge that I have to deal with. I'm always ready to go back in and re-edit.
Yeah.
Always. There's always something that I feel like I could take to another level. I'm sure that if I learn this better and I do this better, I could take this to another level. I could switch the lighting. I could do this. And those drivers are super important because they make you get to another level inevitably. But ultimately, you still have to hit publish and you still have to send it out because that's when you know you finished this project. This is another level to beat. Yeah. And then I finish a new one, and this is a new level to beat. And this is a new level to beat. And I find ever since I changed to that mentality, what I realize is every time I release something now, I know what my new benchmark is.
Yeah, dude.
And that's the fun part is like, how do I get better on the next fucking benchmark? Like, what is the next highest thing? And you become, I love to analyze the show after. And I look at it where it's like, it's not about just quantity anymore. It's about analyzing it and taking it to another. What can I do to make this better? Okay, drill in on this fucking thing now and fix this part till it gets good and release that on the next episode. And then the next episode, drill into another part and release that. And then it becomes like a weird obsession, but it's a fucking great one.
Absolutely, man. And, you know, even on this side with the comic stuff, dude, yeah, okay, I'm doing the content and it's like, how could I get better? But it's mostly nitpicking at like example presentation or things like that. But when you look at the overall, you know what I mean? Like networking's been one of the main things. And I think that crosses across all types of things, whether it be, you know, within music, whether it be within writing, you can name anything. And networking is so important. Real estate. We were talking real estate. Yeah. Networking is very important.
If you don't know what's going on, within the whole community of this thing,
Exactly.
then you're not really part of the community either.
Exactly. And that's why, like, for myself, dude, one of the main things that I always made sure of when we were playing music was, like, we're not going to burn any fucking bridges. I don't care if we're dealing with a local who you consider below you, which I never did. I never considered anybody below me.
Yeah.
And even on YouTube, dude, I make it very transparent. Like, okay, cool, I'm doing Covrprice, but there's nothing to be intimidated by. Like, that has nothing to do with anything. I'm a nobody. You know what I mean? I'm just fucking, I'm Lando. You know what I mean? Like, I'm here to talk comics. So, example, on my Sunday shows, I make it very apparent. I tell everybody, I don't care if you've got 1 subscriber, 0 subscribers, or 1,000,000 subscribers, dude. You are more than welcome to come and talk comics.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. You know what I mean?
That was the same feeling I had. This is not about the number of subscribers.
Yeah.
I feel that there's a story here that is worth for someone to listen.
Absolutely.
And that's exactly how I feel. That's why I feel like we connected very quickly on our conversation, because there was so many similarities, not from the industry standpoint alone. There was the music side for sure, but wrestling, all this stuff. But there was a value from our values concept of like, okay, no, you're interesting. And because you're interesting, if I can help get this name out, then let's do it. Why not?
Yeah. I remember, dude, my cousin that I was telling you about earlier in the show, that he was a wrestler, right, on the indie scene. He actually stopped because he got injured. Like, I really think had he continued for just a bit more, who knows? But he was, like, you name it, Seth Rollins, all these people that are currently in WWE or AEW, like, he's wrestled a good portion. And I remember being a kid when he was doing this, and one of the things he told me was, don't be a mark. Like, because he would make me meet some of the people with him backstage. Like, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens are locals here from Montreal, okay? They were always with my cousin. My cousin used to wrestle with them and everything. Now they're in WWE. And I remember we would be at pay-per-views, watching pay-per-views at, let's say, so-and-so's house, and they'd be there. Like, I was kind of there.
Must have been fucking fun, dude.
Yeah, dude, I remember watching Randy Orton win the title. I think it was off of Chris Benoit at SummerSlam, and like, I'm with my cousin and all his wrestling crew watching it. I don't even remember whose house we were at.
It must be wild because they're watching it from such a different perspective,
right?
Of like, wow, like one day I could be on that stage.
Yeah. Now it's funny because like my buddy Chris, who also used to wrestle back in the day, he as well, like now we look at people in AEW. We've got somebody who's in AEW right now, Speedball Mike Bailey. He's doing his stuff, and we would watch pay-per-views together. You know what I mean? This is what we would do. Monthly pay-per-view get-togethers was a thing. And one thing my cousin always told me was, don't be a mark, right?
What does that mean? So, dive into the mark.
The mark meaning like, don't be a fanboy, right? Don't be one of those where
you lose sight that it's just a person.
Exactly, right? That was one of the main things that stuck with me from when I was a kid when he told me that, and it carried over into music. When I got to get to warm up and set up for our stage with Bam Margera, with Gob, with Bleecker, with anybody you name, Hawthorne Heights, that stayed with me my whole life. Don't be a mark. Just talk to them. Shoot the shit, right? Yeah. I remember meeting, I've hung out with Papa Roach a few times, Jacoby Shaddix, via, like he's had some shows. We've shot the shit. Not that I know him personally. I'm not name dropping like, oh, I'm cool, whatever. But I remember my wife meeting Papa Roach, right?
She's just a total fangirl.
Oh, dude, she was like on cloud nine. So Tobin asked her if she wanted a beer. And to her, it's like, oh my God, he wanted to buy me a beer. You know what I mean? So she still throws that in my face. But one thing, I'd meet all these guys, and whether it was being part of a show with them or just meeting them off of a signing or whatever it was, don't be a mark. You know what I mean? That always stayed in the back of my head. And now it carries over as well into what I'm doing now. You know what I mean? I've done shows with people who have, 50,000 subscribers or 20,000 subscribers. They're considered the big guys within the little space or whatever. I never, since hearing that from my cousin, I've never looked at anybody as, holy shit, I'm starstruck. We mentioned Rev Theory doing the theme song for Randy Orton. Rev Theory is not a huge band. Okay, they're big. They're very big.
Yeah.
But I remember they opened up for Theory of a Dead Man, and I took my wife, and when she met Rev Theory, dude, she froze. And I'm fangirl. I'm looking at her, and I'm like, oh my God, are you okay? Like, are you okay to take this picture? Like, should we go?
Yeah.
And yeah, so I guess, you don't think of it because I grew up a certain way. I grew up around, let's say, my cousin who was very involved in entertainment, right? This is considered entertainment, even though it's the indie scenes.
Yeah, for sure.
You're entertaining.
They're just another level. It's not
Exactly.
a question that they're different. They're just there's not a, they're all professionals. There's just this one has more attention.
Exactly.
And this one pays you more. But ultimately it's the same job at another level. It's like, if you look at it from a company perspective, if you're at this top 5 company that you worked at, but it's the same type of job, but it's in the top 20 company, it's number 20 on the company list. It's the same thing. It's just this one's a more recognized company. So the brand is better maybe.
Yeah, and like I said, it stuck with me forever. And I never noticed until later on how people maybe can get intimidated, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's totally understandable, dude. You grow up fucking idolizing these people or whatever it is. Like, dude, I remember my little brother, dude. We went to a signing for China. Remember WWE?
Oh yeah, the wrestler.
Yeah, well,
Right.
whatever. But anyways,
Triple H though. That was a Triple H in China.
oh yeah. But anyways, we get there and I give her the book to sign, whatever. I still have that book, dude. And my brother's like,
That's China. Ugh.
like he was blown away. And then he turns around and he's like, and he was young, dude. He was young. And I remember him saying something along the lines of like, oh, she has big boobs. You know what I mean? Like, he was a kid. He was a kid.
He had a whole other. He was dealing with other shit.
Yeah, exactly. Totally different stuff. But, meeting Chris Jericho, people tend to maybe react differently, and that's fine. You know what I mean? But I think thinking that way, don't be a mark, carried over into the comic stuff, carried over into the YouTube stuff, carried over into the music stuff. I'll never look at somebody as oh my God, you know what I mean? Maybe I might fumble if I meet Sydney Sweeney for good reasons, but if there's anything like I really do look at everybody as just a person, you know what I mean? Just have a conversation.
It's funny you say that because I had worked I still work in like high level sales and all these things. So people have a hard time when they're talking to CEOs or CFOs. Like they get intimidated by that title. Like this person is better than you for some reason. And I always looked at it. I'm like, that is the weirdest fucking thing. Like this guy or this girl goes to the bathroom the exact same way as you. That's always the thing. I know that sounds like a dumb, like,
No, but it's
like
right.
they literally go to the bathroom the exact same way as you. They put on their pants or whatever it is that they wear the exact same way as you. And outside of this job, chances are there is a lot of similar problems that they're dealing with.
Yeah.
At another level, but just it's the same problems. It's kids taking care of their families or, legacies, whatever it is that you think of. And then they have this title of CEO, CFO.
Yeah.
I never walked into a meeting where I felt like I couldn't speak to a CFO because I'm not financially capable to speak to one. And I would look at it, I was like, they are obviously much more advanced than I am when it comes to finances. But I also understand business at a level that makes sense from a whole perspective.
Yeah.
And I can carry my weight with this person. And if I don't, that's okay too. You're the expert. What could I learn from this conversation versus being like, oh, I can't talk to this person because they're higher than I am. And I never understood that. Like even when I would meet people, it would be like, there's a second, I remember the one person that I felt like a fangirl was Slash. When I met Slash,
No kidding.
I met him for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was, to me, he's my favorite guitarist. He was the reason why I played guitar. So obviously it had really hit a lot of moments for me.
Okay.
But for Slash, he's like, I didn't even fucking know you. You know what I mean? Like, and that's cool. He shouldn't know me. There's not like he should know who I am. So I remember when I got there and I remember hearing the people talking to him and they were all talking about like, oh, how amazing Appetite for Destruction was.
Yeah.
And it's a great album. I love it. But I was like, I could imagine that must be annoying at some point because that's like from 1987.
Yeah.
It's fucking 2019 or whatever it was at the time. It's like you're still talking to me about an album that I wrote like 40 years ago, whatever it is. And I'm like, in my mind, what I looked at him and when I met him, I said something along the lines of like, he was playing with the Snake Pit that night. I said something along the lines of like, there was a song where you had ripped this solo that just blew my mind tonight. I remember I said, and I just want to say like, it was to me, I've watched a lot of like shows that you've done, and tonight was one of those like when you had ripped that part, I was like
Blown away.
I just want to say like it was a great moment for me tonight. I appreciate it, dude. I remember because he had his sunglasses on.
No kidding.
And he put, obviously, the sunglasses and the hat. So he had his shit going on, and he literally stopped and he put down his glasses like, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Like, and he just changed character. He wasn't Slash in the top hat. It's like, he was Paul Hudson, I guess. You know what I mean? It's like he just remembered like for a second, like, oh, it was like a weird thing. And even the bodyguard was like, oh man, that's pretty cool. Like
that you acknowledge
that. It wasn't about like sign my CD, sign my thing. Exactly. It was like, I just wanted to say, dude, like, what a great show. I really appreciate it. Fucking this part here was amazing. And it was just different than I love what you've done even 40 years ago.
Absolutely. Dude, back just to talk back on the wrestling side of things, like there's a guy named Chris Van Vliet. He sits down with all the current wrestlers, you know what I mean? And his interview style is great because, yes, he brings up stuff that are considered notorious, right, for most people, but he dives deep into other things where it's like it's not been talked about type thing. And that is something that stands out to me. That is something that I study as well, something that I look at. Like, example, I had a buddy of mine who, in the comic world, ironically knows my cousin because he's a wrestler too. But we were talking. It's crazy how this became a wrestling podcast. But we were talking, and he's like, "Hey, dude, like, somebody from VonCon actually, saw the show, and like, would you want to come down and maybe, talk with Bret Hart?" And I was like, "Wow, dude, that would be amazing, right?" So whether that were to happen or not, it's great. But I feel like if I were to sit down with somebody like Bret Hart, the last thing I want to talk about is the Montreal Screwjob.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like the last thing I want to talk about is the more notorious things he's known for. Whereas like, he's a Canadian. Calgary. Hockey. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, get to know the guy.
Outside of wrestling.
Exactly. And I feel like a lot of people don't really do that when it comes to meeting somebody, whether it be, or let's say on a podcast platform. We lack that. And I feel like, when people do that, I think it's more interesting because you really feel like you get to know somebody. And that is something that you're doing well, in my opinion. You understand?
Thanks, bro.
Same thing, let's say on a Sunday show with myself, I really want to highlight the guests. When let's say if I were to speak to Bret Hart, I know he's affiliated with the Calgary Hitmen, right? I think that is something to maybe have a conversation about, like talk hockey. Like, dude, what got you into this? What, the hockey stuff. Like, people don't know that. You know what I mean?
Well, because everyone knows those stories of this Montreal Screwjob. I was at that show, by the way.
Me too. That was my first wrestling show.
That was a wild dude. I was like, no way.
Dude, when he was smashing the TVs, I was like, why?
Is this real? I'm like, is this real? Like, it's something's real. I remember I had my sign for Bret Hart, dude, and all that shit. But it's funny you say that because everyone knows that story. And it must be so annoying for the person to continuously talk about this thing. Yeah. It's like, can we talk about something else?
Yeah.
Like, I know everyone knows this, so can we shift direction and talk about something differently?
Exactly.
Because like, you're on here and we're going to talk about comics for sure. Like, you're talking about Bret Hart, you're going to talk wrestling for sure at a certain point. But who the fuck is Lando outside of comics? And that way, if someone's watching this now, they're like, oh, fuck, Lando likes wrestling too. Yeah, and you get to see this person. He's a dad, dude. He has all these fucking different sides to him. And that's why I find conversations actually get more interesting because even the person on the other line, I don't know how you feel, but it's like, okay, we're not just focused in on comic books.
No, exactly. And it kind of gives, a relationship between the host and the guest as well. Right. Because you'll remember these moments. Example, right now, I'm going to remember this. You know what I mean? The conversations that we had, we got to know each other more.
Yeah.
And it's funny because your concept of your show, I want to highlight that because you talk about everybody's got a story. But I think what people may not realize is that at the end of every show, we now have a story.
Exactly.
You understand?
It's exactly that feeling where I've mentioned this to people in the past. I'm like, you have to understand that after every episode, I learned about myself.
Yep.
A lot more, like, of listening to someone's story of similarities, differences, different opinions, different points of view of life, but in a very similar context at the same time. So you realize how connected we all are, most likely on the basic needs that regardless of the industry, chances are you were worried about taking that step into going to the comic book thing because maybe people are going to laugh at you. You're worried that with the music at one point, if it wasn't going to work out. And these are things that we all go through because you have dreams and you don't know if they're going to work out. And all
Exactly.
the, so you're worried, you're confused. Should I do this? Take the chance. Then the stress of that, bro, that life is a whole other stress and you still manage it. And I find like all these things that people don't understand is that by the end of the conversation, I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. Dude.
There's like a thing that happens, and after the conversation, you're like, no matter what, I know you a bit more than probably most people that have known you for 30 years.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Dude, a lot of people that I've connected with via YouTube, Instagram, via all the Black Crown comic stuff, they've become closer to me than people I've grown up with.
Yeah.
You understand? They're more involved in a lot of the shit that I'm doing right now. And, you know, they're reaching out. Like, fuck, if I miss a Sunday show, dude, are you okay? What's going on? And then, like, oh, shit, sorry, dude. I'm in St. Martin. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I'm fucking enjoying myself. Don't fucking call me.
Don't worry, dude. I'm drunk as shit. I'll catch you next week. But, you know, you get close to these people. And that's what I'm getting at with you is that you're building these connections with people. And now, you know, as much as you highlight the guest story, you also have a story with your guest and vice versa. And I always encourage and praise you. Sorry, I praise you because what you're doing is great shit. What you're doing is great shit. Continue doing what you're doing for sure. But for myself, I could honestly say that if I were to stop doing all of this comic stuff and it all ends tomorrow morning, don't care. I'm okay.
Yeah.
I've made a lot of great friends along the way.
Yeah.
I've, you know, moved within this hobby in ways where I've networked with such amazing people. Is it gonna end for me tomorrow morning? No, don't worry. I ain't going anywhere. But what I'm getting at is like, I'm happy. I'm satisfied. And I think the music side, there's always that, yeah, I'm satisfied, but the abrupt ending and where we noticed where we were full of shit, I always wonder in the back of my head sometimes, right? Where if I was where I'm at today, mentally, could we have had a different story?
You would have, for sure.
Yeah.
But, and I totally relate with that feeling. There is a regret. And I don't care. People just say, oh, no regrets. No, there's a regret because there was a final push that I felt at one point was brought to the table and I backed off.
Yeah.
So to me, I always regret not that we didn't make it, is that I didn't push back.
Exactly.
And to go further. I will always regret that for the rest of my life, but I don't hold it as like a grudge for the rest of my life.
No.
Like, oh, this is the reason why this happened because of that. It's like, no, that's just a regret. And because of that regret and that feeling that has been with me for over 20 fucking years, I am never going to make that mistake again.
Yeah.
That's all it is like, it's not a question of that feeling is a question of not learning something from that feeling, that I didn't listen to myself. I didn't trust myself. I got kind of swayed into so many different things that made me think that wasn't the right path for me anymore. And that feeling is something that I remember more than the music.
Yeah.
Because maybe the music wouldn't have worked out. Who the fuck knows anyways? But it's like now when I'm working on this, when I'm working on something, I ask myself, if I wake up in 10 years from now, am I going to regret that I didn't do this today?
Yeah.
If the answer is yes, then fucking do it.
It's funny you say that because I do this mental thing where it's kind of like I look at myself always in 5 years. It's always
you
a
have
5
to.
years plan.
You have to.
Yeah. And I'm looking at it and it's like, okay, I'm 35 now. Fuck, in 5 years I'm 40. Shit, my kids are going to be this age and blah, blah, blah. Where am I at? This and that. Like, you're looking at these things and it's kind of like, what way do you want to go to reach goals that you see in 5 years from now? Obviously, I just want to be healthy and make it to tomorrow. You know what I mean?
It was a baseline. Yeah.
Yeah. But giving myself goals, dude, like, I really gotta say, dude, props to my wife for having patience with me because and same with you, dude. I'm sure you're the same way where it's like, you know, you're always setting yourself goals. You're never satisfied. We've said this many times throughout the show today that like satisfaction, it's almost never.
It's impossible.
Because you're always chasing. There's always something. There is a side to me that has now embraced some satisfaction. You understand? I think with maturity that comes. I think it'll hit you at some point. Like, you know, I did something today that like my kid's gonna remember for the rest of his life. It's a different type of satisfaction.
Yeah.
But when it comes to chasing dreams, chasing things, I kind of stopped chasing and just let things roll. And and I've noticed more work that way than just, no, I need to be here by this time and blah blah. I give myself a 5 year plan, like, okay, hopefully in this amount of time I can save this much amount of money, but I'm not setting myself a goal of like, nah, dude, I need to be opening up fucking Alter Bridge or Guns N' Roses or whatever. Like, no, I'm not doing that. There's chasing dreams for sure, which is a great thing, but on a personal side, my goals are now, like, example, with the comic stuff, there are no real end games. You know what I mean? There's no goals. It's more of like, I'm gonna do this till I stop giving a shit, which I won't. You know what I mean? I know I won't stop giving a shit, but I'm gonna do this until, let's say, if it starts to burn me out, kind of like when I had to make my first pivot from this Monday 7 p.m. to Sundays at 9. If I have to do that, I'll do it. But I mean, right now, I'm just enjoying the ride. I'm really just networking. And again, I was a nobody who was asked, and I'm still nobody. I was asked to join a random show for a one-time gig. Here I am, doing what I'm doing, still grinding, still enjoying the ride, networking, Covrprice reaching out, other people reaching out, affiliations, networking has been amazing. You know what I mean? Getting to know people within the hobby that, actual artists, writers, that talking to them, and being able to create relationships with these people. I think for myself is something I would have never imagined as a comic collector as a kid. I think that for me is rewarding, where I get to talk with the actual creators. Like, you spoke to Slash for whatever that time was. That must have meant the world to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And that's what it is. Is like, I look back on the music side, I learned a lot. I look back on my cousin, I learned a lot. The wrestling stuff, I learned a lot. Now in the comic side, I continue to learn a lot. You know what I mean? And as long as I'm learning, dude, I'm happy. This is healthy for me. You understand? It keeps my mind going, keeps me disconnected from the bullshit happening within the world at times, where we look around, like we were saying before. Because punk rock, dude, the most punk rock thing right now is being good. But I'm going to keep going until, I feel like, okay, now it's time to take a step back, for whatever reasons. And that's pretty much it. I'm enjoying this ride. There's no forced goal upon myself outside of, I just want to, shoot the shit. I just want to shoot the shit, talk to people. I met you. Like I said, your focus is to show everybody's story. Now I have a story with you. And for me, that's what's most important, is like just hanging out, talking nerd stuff, music, whatever it is. I ain't exclusive to comics, dude. I could do whatever. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to talk music, anybody, like, I'm open to that. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's ever going to be an end to it, until I'm ready to pull the plug and just be like, fuck it, I want to go back to St. Martin with the wife and move there. You know what I mean? Or I want to go to Cuba or whatever. I don't know. Just let's move to Italy. Fuck.
Well, but that's the thing. I think, is that when you really like something, what I've noticed, it's more about just growing. Like, there isn't the element of this amount is what I need to grow to. Yeah. Is I just want to know that I'm better than I was yesterday.
That's it.
That's it. Like that. Yeah. Let's literally. So if I'm 1% better today than I was yesterday, I'm happy. Yeah. Because I know that if I do that even 10 times this year, that I'm 1% better throughout the year, once a month, let's say for 12 times, I'm 1% better, whatever it is, from lighting to editing to whatever the fuck it is, family, outside, all these things. I'm going to be 12% better by the end of the year. And if I compound that shit, like, I look at it from a math perspective. Yeah. If I just do these little bits better, I know that ultimately things will get better in the bigger picture. Yeah. I don't have to think of the bigger picture. I just need to think of this moment and how to get better at this moment.
Yeah, look, and I wish that be the mindset for a good majority of people. Waking up every day, how can you get that 1% better, dude? You're already better than yesterday. You know what I mean? It doesn't need to be from 0 to 100. Everybody's chasing that 100. Everybody's chasing it. I don't care for it, dude. Like I said, I'm enjoying the ride. So for me, that 5-year plan, like I said, for me, it's mostly like on a personal side, where it's like, okay, finances, my wife, the kids, and everything. Where do we see ourselves? That's a whole other ball game, right? Yeah. But when it comes to what we're doing now on YouTube and stuff like that, sure, I'd like to grow. Sure, I would love for, I don't know, a company like comicbook.com to reach out to me and be like, hey, do you want to go do the red carpet at, yeah, you want to go do the red carpet? Yeah. Go do the red carpet at Fantastic Four, Superman, whatever. Like, I'd love that, dude. Like, I'd love to have conversations. with all of these people. So that's what I mean by it doesn't limit me just based on comics. I like learning.
Yeah.
No matter what. I love entertainment. I love showbiz. I love music. I love all of that. So for me, like I said, it won't stop. It won't stop. I'm sorry. I'll never be satisfied. You know that. You just said it earlier how there's just never a satisfaction.
Yeah.
But when I'm ready to pull that plug, I'll happily do so. I'll happily do so with good intent. Like, okay, now I'm
Yeah, when you know you're done, it's okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Lando, man, I have to take a crazy piss soon.
Me too.
So
Me too.
I think we're getting to the end of this.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say, one, thank you for talking about all the stuff in there, from comics to wrestling to the challenges, everything like that. I think for people that don't know you, it's something they're going to learn about you. But for the people that do know you, and you had said, I'm a nobody, I don't think you're a nobody, because for a lot of people every week that they're tuning in, they give a fuck. So for those people that they're going to get to know you a little more, hopefully this show does that and connects you a little more with them. I just want to say thanks, man, for coming by. One, I really appreciated it. I think we had a great fucking time. I just looked at it, I was like, oh my God, we've been talking for an hour and 50 minutes right now. So
An hour what?
yeah, so we'll figure out how I'm going to edit this shit.
Jeez.
But I want to say, man, thank you so much. And for people that are fans, obviously you know where to find them. But for the people that aren't fans yet, and want to get to know more about you, what are the best ways that they can connect with you or follow you on YouTube, Instagram, and all that stuff?
Well, it's very simple, guys. You could head over to Black Crown Comics. Now, Black is spelled Blakk. There's a reason for that. But yeah, Black Crown Comics over on Instagram, YouTube as well. And of course, you could check out Covrprice over on YouTube. Every Tuesday and Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, we go live for the top 10s and the shakers. And of course, Sundays is just my channel. That's what we focus a lot about on when it comes to the highlighting the guests. You know, knowing that you're a comic fan, bro. Knowing that you're a comic fan, bro.
They're gonna be ripping me because
like,
you're not a fucking comic book fan like me, for sure. I'll bring in my pack. They're gonna be like, well, this guy's a downer with his fucking.
Yeah, what's this guy doing with Turok One?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, dude. That's pretty much where you guys can find me. I appreciate it. And like I said, Steph, thanks goes back to you. By chance, this happened. And it's crazy how we came together. We know a lot of the same people. And as much as you were here to show my story, now we have a story. So that's my takeaway from this.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate it, man. I'm really happy you came along. And I'm looking forward to editing this one.
Yeah, just don't shake it 3 times. All right.
Cheers. Dude, thank you so much.
Yeah, pleasure. Of course.
Dude, thank you. Everyone, thank you.
Adios.